Welcome to the Love and Meaning Podcast, where inner work is a lifestyle. Welcome to the Love and Meaning Podcast. I'm your host, Chrystelle Robinson-Tiedemann, and we are back today with an episode on love. This is a love lesson. It's long overdue. We've had a few weeks of meaning lessons in a row. I'm here with a love lesson, and this lesson is probably the most important. Maybe I say that every time, but I think this is the most important lesson in love and also one of the most difficult. And that is the lesson of learning how to be ourselves. This is something that I encounter as an ongoing process. Yes, it gets easier and easier, but I bring it up because, for example, last week for me was a really difficult week for me in being myself. And when I say being myself, I mean that all of us have to take the time to figure out how we operate. What is the best way for you to structure your life, your days, your relationships? What is the ideal environment for you? What is the ideal socialization for you? What is your energy capacity? What is the ideal amount of sleep for you? Activity, environment, like everything, down to the nittiest of the grittiest. Like, what is best for you? Personal discovery is basically the process of figuring that out, but there's then the aspect of actually living in accordance with it. And that is an ongoing commitment. And it's so interesting because it can seem like, oh, all right, well, now that I know what works for me, you think you would just do it. But I encounter so much challenge with that. For example, as a human design projector, I require a lot of rest. And rest isn't just sleep, but I do require a good amount of sleep. And there are a lot of things that I want to do. And I still find myself stuck in the paradigm very often of believing that the more that I do, the more productive that I am. And I have proven to myself time and time again that that is not the case for me. And that is not the case for projectors. If I can think of the times in my life where things have just, when you're just like, okay, everything's on cloud nine. Like you can't bring me down if I tried. Like, it's like I have a fairy godmother on my shoulder just being like, you get to have this and you get to have that and we'll bring that in place. And don't worry, here comes that. And like everything's just like laid out in a red carpet. I have been deeply rested. And this looks for me like spending a lot of quiet time within myself, contemplating things that are meaningful to me, literally being horizontal. Like something happens to me horizontal. I'm not kidding. So I'll often even like do my work lying down. And that works beautifully for my energy. There's just something about being in a very relaxed state, sitting in my backyard versus sitting inside at my desk can change everything in terms of feeling deeply rested. Having unscheduled time to be able to just read, whether that reading is something related to something that I'm working on, or just reading for fun. Uh, Long showers or my beauty routine. That is huge for me, being able to do my beauty routine and my skincare and lotion myself the way that I want to lotion myself. Doing those things actually can warp speed my productivity. If you're looking at it from the outside, it can look like, wow, you like lazed around and pampered yourself all day. And I promise you, I'll have the most productive day that you could ever think of. And it's actually better to take it all in a whole, not like day by day. But like, let's say you look at the whole week, because it's not like I'll do the same thing every day. But if I follow my flow and give myself all of those kind of pampered self-care need things that work for me, it'll be one of those insane warp quantum field productivity weeks. And yet still, I can still so easily fall into the challenge of operating in this very linear way, not giving myself telling myself I don't have the time to do the self-care things that I need, and sitting down to work, and I did air quotes if you didn't hear them, and just operating in this way where I'm just like, oh, the minutes are ticking by, do more, do more, do more, do more. And the results are never there. Like I don't get more done by doing that. And I still struggle at times to remember that that's not the way that it works best for me. We would think that if you prove to yourself that something works best for you, you would just do it automatically, right? You would think that because I know what works for me, then I would just do it. And I'm sure that you can think of for yourself, if I know this is what works for me, I'll just do it. But it's not that simple. That's just actually not how we operate. We are such patterned beings. We really operate like the brain. It's such an interesting thing to stop and contemplate our brains and the difference between our consciousness, our minds, and our brains. And our brains really like to simplify things, and it does very much learn by repetition. And at the end of the day, probably at whatever stage it is that you are in your personal development journey, the amount of years that you've been operating outside of alignment is more. And so the thing is like, one, don't beat yourself up about this. Yes, I can get frustrated with myself, but I'm not saying this from a frustrated place. I'm saying it from, honestly, it's like I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated with myself when I look back, and I'm just like, really, Chrystelle? Like, I pushed through last week. You want to talk about pushing through? That's what I did. Just in the old paradigm of get up early, go to bed late, and do as much as you can. And I felt so freaking drained this weekend that I literally had to spend most of the weekend actually sleeping. So I don't even mean in my deeply rested creative state. I was like sleeping, trying to catch up to neutral, to zero. And it's very detrimental for me because I'm trying to do big things, and I can't, like, that's time and money. Okay? Like, this is precious for me. I don't have the time to not be operating in my alignment, but it is still a continuous effort. So once we've discovered the way that things work best for us, it really takes a sense of commitment, practice, accountability with ourselves, and devotion to learning a new automatic mode. My automatic mode is still not operating in alignment with being a projector. It's still in alignment with operating as a generator type. My automatic mode is to count down the hours, see the hours that I have, and think in a linear pattern in terms of, okay, well, how do you use each minute best? Not what is your energy actually most potently served towards in this moment. These are the things that I need to use my consciousness to step into and remind me of. And I have come up with a really amazing strategy for this lately. And it's something that you can learn if you want to learn it. It's inside of my 15-day Rise and Shine challenge. And you don't have to do the challenge to learn it, but it teaches, basically this challenge is I teach you a process that I have created, combining internal family systems, an internal family systems practice with communicating with our inner child. It's a process that I have come up with to basically within minutes zoom in to ourselves, go within, bypass the human, bypass my ADHD, bypass my programming, bypass my conditioning, bypass this automatic aspect that I'm talking about, and just speak to that part of me that is my truest self. And I basically do you step into that mode and do a rearranging. So in that inner conversation with ourselves, we step out of it very much in alignment with that soul aspect, that true aligned self, so that we can actually make a decision going forward. It has been a really incredible addition to my life having this practice, because it's a very quick aligner. But the thing is that I have to also use it, right? So even me, I created it, and it's made a massive difference in my life, and it's made a massive difference in the members of my community, because we did the 15-day Rise and Shine challenge together. So it's now available individually. You can purchase it. The link is provided in the show notes. So you can purchase it independently, but we did this together when I first created it. And it was, the results are mind-blowing, and it's just something that we're just adding to our everyday life. And I'm so happy to have it, because sometimes, just genuinely, honestly, like, I'm really blown away by how much consciousness it requires, truly, to do what's best for us. It is just so much easier to just do whatever we've already been doing, even though it's not best for us, even though it's not working, even though we've had results that we don't like. We're just such creatures of habit. We are just such creatures of habit. So if you were called to hear this message today, stop judging yourself about that. This is how we're wired, and the brain is wired that way for a very good reason. And I love to listen to studies of evolution and different teachers who are very much steeped in evolution, because if you think of previous generations, honestly, this is not stuff that they had the privilege, time, energy, anything to be thinking about. It's like, what are you talking about? Okay, nonsense, like we need to survive, right? We're not that far out of survival mode. So if you really think evolutionary wise, remember evolution is quite slow in terms of, the human being. This is over like millions of years, that we've evolved. In the last, I don't have an actual number, but in the last short period of time, we have evolved like exponentially in terms of consciousness. But not like in this physical apparatus that we dwell in. Like, we still have brains that are very similar to our ancestors. And so that's what we're working with. These are the tools that we're working with. And so relying on those tools to make these massive paradigm shifts, to make these quantum leap changes it's not smart. It doesn't make sense, because that's not what it was designed for. Our brains were designed to keep us safe. They were not made to keep us happy. That's our work. That's the consciousness work. So the thing is that the tools that we have to rely on to make these major leaps in our lives, like if you've gotten to the place in your life where you realize, I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive. I want to be insanely happy. I want to do things that make my heart sing. I want to feel thrill. I want to feel ecstasy. I want to feel joy, and I want to feel fulfillment in what I do, who I do it with, and the way that I live my life. If these are the things that we're thinking, then we have to use tools that are as new age and higher consciousness as our desires. We need to use the tools that match our desire. And these are consciousness tools. These are choices that we have to make on a daily basis that put us into a state that is operating outside of just simply how our human brain functions. We have to move out of the automaton and into the higher level consciousness. And so no matter how long that I've been doing this already, it is still, I'm letting you know, with full transparency, it is still really challenging sometimes to know what works best for me and still not revert back to an old pattern of operating that has only given me old results that I don't actually particularly love. So this lesson in love, to choose to live your life in a way that best serves you for who you are and the way that you work, is about bravery, commitment, discipline, and devotion. It can be really challenging by the people around you who will all have an opinion on the way that you're supposed to be, okay? It is even my husband who knows, because he sees me all the time. He knows what works well for me. He's to a certain degree, like, he still doesn't really get it. You know what I mean? Like, it still doesn't make sense to look at me lying down and have an understanding that I'm actually in my most creative mode right now, doing absolutely nothing. He still doesn't quite get it. He still doesn't quite get it when I really need to be by myself. And he's thinking, well, we don't really have that much time together. So I figured that, our time's outside of our jobs. Let's spend as much time together as we can. That makes sense. Think of linear time. This is how much time we're at work. This is how much time we're outside of work. Shouldn't we utilize as much time as we can to spend it together? We enjoy each other's company. Absolutely. But do you know what makes me feel my absolute best in order for me to then be my best self when I hang out with you? That's hanging out with me. One of the things that I need is quite a bit of space away from other human beings. As a projector, I have a lot of open centers. And if you look at your human design chart and you see all of those centers that are just white, they're not colored in, those are all areas where we absorb other people's energy. If you have quite a few of those, you're constantly taking in the energy of other people. Some people are around a lot of people all day. Some people aren't around a lot of people all day. In general, I am around a lot more people than my husband. But whenever we are communicating with other people and we're offering them advice, or we're thinking about what might be good for them, we're always thinking about it from our personal perspective. So for him, who's not around as many people all the time, and also he has more centers, he's a manifesting generator who's far more defined than me. It's hard for him to even understand what that means when I'm like very overwhelmed by a lot of too much human interaction and needing space to clear my centers, find my own energy again, attune, and then come back feeling centered in myself. It doesn't really translate. It's something that he understands intellectually, but it can be hard to really get it. And if I'm not choosing me, it's so easy to be like, okay, it's fine. What's one day? It's no big deal. Like, yes, let me agree to go and do this thing, this social thing that I know I don't want to do, and that I know it would be much better for me to spend that time in self-care and by myself. But let me do that because I love our friends, and yes, we haven't had enough time to hang out with each other, and this will just make everybody happy. It seems like, okay, that will be just a nice thing to do. What's the big deal? The big deal is that often how I'm going to pay for it is an entire week that is far less creative, meaningful, and productive for me. And when I'm trying to create something, a very vital time of me creating and building something for myself. That one choice, that one outing can really throw off a lot of days. And it's not about beating myself up about it, but it's about finding the courage to be able to choose those boundaries for myself. We all have to figure out what works best for us. And then we have to love ourselves enough, respect ourselves enough to communicate that to other people and allow them to feel whatever they feel about it. And I mean, really take the time to learn. So I'm not saying like, I don't want to hang out with you at all. And I'm only hanging out with anybody secondary to my own time with myself. Like, this is not about rigidity. This is not about not being, not recognizing the importance of your partner's feelings. This is not about not prioritizing the needs of a relationship. But this is about prioritizing the needs of ourselves, because we are the vessel that we operate in all of these relationships. We are the vessel that we operate our business, that we parent, that we do our jobs, and like we are the vessel, and everything is secondary to that. And it can be so hard. We're combating years of operating out of alignment. So we have to commit to years of operating in alignment, and it is a conscious choice. It feels freaking weird. It's awkward. It's also sometimes very difficult to explain, and you don't have to explain it. I don't have to explain it. I just need to truly value my essence, value feeling my best self in order to say what my needs are. And when we do that lovingly, and also when everyone sees the results of it, because the truth is, like, my husband loves it best when I'm in my most aligned state too. It's best for everybody. But it can be really easy in the tiniest of ways to kind of just forget what we need and just operate in what we think we should be doing, the standards other people have set, or just like, what is the norm? What does society usually do? That kind of stuff. And so this lesson in love is truly prioritizing operating as you. We have to write our own prescriptions for our energy. What is the ideal way that you function? Establish what that is and learn to be non-negotiable about it, not just with the people in your life, the people that love you the most, but also with yourself. This is only going to add to our life experience, and as a result, to everyone else's life experience who's all around us. I love you. I wish you the most luck and love in following your own prescription this week, and I'll see you in the next one.